Good morning and good day to everyone, and welcome to the Workplace Redefined, a joint informational webinar presented by Intel and 22Miles. We are very appreciative that you joined us today, and we will have a recording of this webinar available online for anyone who would like to review the information after we're finished. I'm going to introduce our guest speakers, but first, I'll offer a brief rundown of today's agenda and then take care of a little housekeeping. Organizational safety and success during and well after the pandemic. That's a topic that's top of mind for businesses and organizations. In this webinar, we will be discussing how emerging edge technology can help organizations operate with greater safety, higher efficiency, and most importantly, implement solutions that are not just good for today, but anticipate and overcome the next big obstacles that companies will face in the future. Some of the things we're going to cover include a brief overview of Intel and 22Miles and how our solutions work together to strengthen organizations. What are the trends being driven by COVID? And what kind of technology solutions businesses should be looking at to stay safe and profitable? We'll showcase the business potential 22Miles has achieved with Intel's NUCs, powered PCs, and edge devices, and how they synergize with 22Miles wayfinding solutions and content management system. And lastly, we'll walk the path into the new workplace, infused with this technology as a protective service, offering use cases, benefits, options, and achievable outcomes. We will have a dedicated time for questions and answers at the conclusion of the presentation. However, you'll notice a box on your screen, I believe it's to the right when you click on that little arrow, where you can actually type your questions as they come to you during the presentation. We'll answer them at the end in the order that they were received in. You can also click on the button to raise your hand, and we'll unmute you if you'd like to ask our panelists anything verbally at the end as well. We are welcoming attendees from Europe, the US, and many other countries today. So some folks are in different time zones. If you want to share with us your city or country in the question box, or when you speak, we'd love to know where you're joining us from. We'll also have some brief little poll questions during the presentation. That'll take a few seconds to click the answer to. So we'd appreciate it if you could take a moment to fill those out when you see them. Now, without further ado, I want to introduce and pass the mic over to our esteemed panelists. First and foremost, from Intel, Christy Rice is the Director of Business Development for Intel's retail segment. In her role, she works to ensure that Intel technology meets retailers' ever-changing needs. She also works closely with the broad and expanding partner ecosystem to connect customers to technology providers and promote solutions that provide a frictionless and experiential shopping experience. Christy, if you can hear me and your mic is live, which I sincerely hope it is, go ahead and say hi to everyone.
Hello, thanks for having me today.
Excellent, excellent. Last but not least, representing 22Miles, Tomer Mann is our EVP of Digital Signage and Interactive Wayfinding Solutions. Tomer spends a great deal of time working directly with businesses all over the world across nearly every imaginable sector to help them utilize technology to achieve better outcomes. When he isn't helping with implementation or advising, we also force or gently coerce him into being our willing subject matter expert for media and other types of industry inquiries. He's also written a few great articles that are out there on the web now.
Hey everyone, great to connect from all over. I'm excited. Hopefully we have some open dialogue and some great questions coming along, and I'll try to make this fun and not boring.
Excellent. I know you will, sir. Also joining us from the 22Miles executive team, we have our COO, Thomas Strayed. Thomas is on deck to be sort of a subject matter expert, very familiar with our indirect channel partners. He'll be here to kind of help us in the Q&A at the end. So you may not hear too much from him, but know that he's with us. And I'm Amari Adams. I'm a content specialist for 22Miles. And at this point, I'm going to get out of the way so we can get started. So you will probably hear from me again during the presentation here and there when it's befitting for me to chime in. And again, at the end when we do our Q&A. But thanks again to everybody from joining us. We really appreciate it. And now I'm going to toss it over to Christy. So let's get started.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Amari, for having me here today and allowing me to share some of Intel's Internet of Things observations and how they relate to the solutions that 22Miles is creating. The pandemic has shifted many plans, routines, activities over the last several months. Out of this, at Intel, we're seeing some key trends that are starting to emerge. Some of these trends will continue for years to come, but others might disappear or at least slow down in the coming months. Some say that the pandemic has caused multiple years of innovation and change to happen in just the matter of a few weeks or months. And this is definitely true in some of the industries that we're focused on. One of the first key trends is that every company, government agency, and school had to pivot quickly in order to find ways to keep their employees, their customers, their students and teachers all safe. There are many ways that this has been accomplished. Some of those are very low tech, like stickers on the floor to indicate where to stand or which direction to walk. Some are much higher tech. There are ways to automatically check people's temperatures, look for masks, count people, direct people to certain paths, and check for social distancing. Tomer is going to be sharing some information on 22Miles solutions that focus here in just a few minutes. Life in lockdown has certainly changed many of our shopping patterns as well. One specifically is the rapid growth in online shopping. It has forced more online purchases and deliveries or curbside pickups than ever before. But what's more is it's also shifted other behaviors, like making us pre-schedule visits to places that we might have normally just dropped into previously, such as renewing our driver's license, or even having to pre-schedule going into the office. The office experience is definitely different today. Mine, as an example, is a repurposed corner in my living room. But when we're all back into the office, the experience is probably going to be different than what it was previously. And 22Miles has some great solutions that are going to be helping make that space safe, helpful, and secure. Another trend that we see that will at least partially reverse in the coming months is the repurposing of stores into fulfillment centers, hotels into hospitals and places for people to isolate themselves, and restaurants into takeaway venues. The more we can learn how to use these spaces available in the right ways, the better, and the better ways that we can keep people working and safe. Companies that were digitally savvy were able to make some of these pivots easier than others. The key is finding what your customers' employees need and then finding ways to make that happen quickly. Finally, there's a trend toward contactless everything, self-help kiosks, self-checkout, and self-service everything. Now, this was a trend before the pandemic. Think about airline check-in, hotel check-in, subway ticket purchases. But contactless today has taken on a new meaning and a new importance. And it's not just about minimizing contact with people and minimizing queues, but it's also about potentially minimizing contact with things. There are technologies today that weren't available even 2 years ago that make all of this possible. Fewer and shorter personal contacts, as well as fewer and less contacts with things. At Intel, we're the technology glue that makes some of these things possible. But our processors don't do very much without companies like 22Miles creating and building great solutions on top of them. So now it's my pleasure to turn it over to 22Miles to provide some information on the company and then some of the great solutions they have for redefining the workplace.
Thank you, Christy. So if you're not familiar with 22Miles, I want to just give a very quick high overview of who, what, when, where, and why we are what we are. And so let's just start from the beginning. So this is a quick little timeline. I'm not going to read through all the milestones and awards. I'm just going to kind of get from 07 to 2020. We were founded in San Jose, so we're a Silicon Valley-based company. The founder is our head engineer. So our whole cultural mindset is as an R&D company, as kind of this nimble, agile startup that is always looking to enhance our feature sets. We started as a wayfinding multi-touch application Leveraging Intel NUCs from day one, from inception, it just made the most sense with Microsoft and the Windows platform, and kind of evolved it from there into other digital signage applications. So our biggest differentiator above and beyond our global niche, which is wayfinding, is the fact that we have one platform to support just about any digital device for any digital application, leveraging any third-party APIs or management software. So really for any client or partners clients, we can really support any project, any out-of-the-box scope, and any solution needs for digital signage, for wayfinding, for video walls, for visual communication displays, even mobile and room booking and desktop notifications. So literally, we're touching it all. And over the years, we kind of got awards and recognition for those applications. One of my favorite things was our augmented reality we added into our mobile applications. But what really makes sense and why we're here today is to talk about 2020. I know most of us want to forget about it, but I think if anything, it's going to create a more immersive digital experience where digital signage is no longer a novelty, but a necessity. And that's kind of how we saw the trend to benefit from a safety, from a hygiene, and an agility perspective. So in 2020, in March, we kind of pivoted a lot of our development that we do. We're almost at 600 versions in the last 2.5 years alone. And we're constantly adding, innovating, looking at what the markets are in Asia and Europe, and consistently adding these feature sets into our one platform to really put us apart from everyone else. And we kind of stopped our normal day-to-day to focus on what's happening in today's environment. So we basically created a whole new platform, feature sets in the platform to support this new workplace journey. We wanted to make sure that we are doing things that are supporting the needs of the public, the solutions to benefit reopening, the applications that are incorporating a lot of what Intel has to offer with us, which a lot more of the edge and AI experiences, and create a new workflow, a new design for organizations, for public buildings, to basically to come back to life after months of shutdowns. And as news is coming out of the vaccine being distributed, but this could be in spring or summer, we know we had to do something quickly. And basically in March, we started developing some new features within our content management software. So again, the big benefit with 22Miles is that you have a solution for all digital devices, but there are certain things we didn't have, and we saw foreign vendors really spamming out and sharing, and we thought we need to do something about it. So basically, we're looking how from social distancing to daily health checks, and from traffic control to reducing physical touch points, running any type of facility in a post-COVID would mean a lot more moving pieces in the foreseeable future. So we basically focused on solutions for that. One of the first things we did, temp defend. As I referenced, we saw a lot of things in the foreign vendors that were sharing temperature screening applications, but that comes with data breach implications. That comes with who's supporting your software. That comes with what is really the accuracy of this system. There's all of these issues, and we wanted to do something about it. So we went straight into developing this new self-service thermal scanner technology, leveraging Intel, leveraging Windows, and leveraging FLIR Sensor, which is a US-based company, our own technology around temperature screening and access control. So a lot of the solutions out there that are Android-based and are like this 8-inch screen are really just doing one thing, pass and fail with facial detection, and that's about it. That's where you're at. But if it breaks, who do you call? If there's regulatory and new compliance requirements, who's making those firmware changes? We made sure that we were staying in compliance. We built our own algorithm, leveraging Intel's AI, and created better machine learning for the pass and fail based on room environments, based on other variables, and then took it a step further. We wanted to understand what other benefits were in the system, right? So face mask detection, voice commands, so it's a touchless experience. And now we added gesture controls as well. So the gesture controls and the voice can be for CDC or survey questions, right? So you're checking in, but you're first answering a few questions. But then we wanted to add some other things, especially leveraging our existing software. So we created our own video call server, where in the past we were leveraging Teams or WebEx or other VoIP technologies, where now you can have a virtual receptionist. And I'm going to talk about more of these things a little more in a granular way moving forward. But basically, everything starts from the lobby. Everything starts from the entrance. And so that's what Temp Defend really did, is it basically is the new access control, the new check-in solution, from healthcare to education, from retail to hospitality to sporting venues. Everything begins at the lobby, at the entrance. So that's where this new journey starts from. That's where the steps of this new solution, which actually we coined protection as a service, starts from. We also wanted to do more. So we added multi-user tracking, which is using Intel RealSense and the FLIR sensor. We 3D printed our own solution with headcount capabilities and all of this. So there's so much in this offering that we've added into the experience. Obviously, all of this is backed by data analytics. So whether it's pass and fail or the temperatures, maybe access controls for timestamps or check-in, badge integrations with printing capabilities for wristband and labels. It goes on, and you can find more information about this on our website. But this is the first step. We also partnered with ELO. We partnered with Lenovo, with IDEA, and some others to leverage our software into either their hardware or into their displays. We also work with Microsoft and AOpen. So there's a lot of variety into the solution. And 22Miles has always strived to be a hardware agnostic, but Intel has always kind of been the backbone for us. So we always doing more. And then one last point to make, and I hear this a lot, is, well, vaccines are coming. We don't need temperature screening soon. What are we going to do? This is not a solution you put in the closet. This is a solution for the future. I think that basically what you're looking at is something that's going to happen for years to come, where people are going to be a little more insecure about public space, or who's sick with the flu. Even doesn't have to be COVID, but there's going to be a lot more heightened awareness of those solutions. So temperature screening could be something that's leveraged forever moving forward. But the organizations, the shopping malls, the locations that think maybe I don't need it, the benefit with 22Miles is that you can evolve this product. You can change the template. Maybe you still want to add the access control. Maybe you want to add the check-in. Or maybe you want to get into adding a virtual receptionist experience, or our Wayfinding, which I'll talk more about. You don't have to just buy this now. You can evolve and continue the journey. So from the entrance, you got the temperature screening or the survey questionnaire as a self-service solution. Then you want to ask questions. You want to interact with an individual. What we wanted to focus on is a new way to evolve the human interaction without physical face-to-face experience, right? So you're still creating this automated guest experience with either our video call server, or with Microsoft Teams, or with Cisco WebEx, or other VoIP technologies. So we can integrate with just about any existing communication system. And you're now, if you want a delivery truck driver, or you're a visitor and you want to know information, there's no front desk person anymore, but you're still getting that human interaction. Or the admins or the front desk or the receptionist want to know who they're dealing with, or who they're checking in. we've added the capabilities for them to actually see the person's temperature as well. So there's that extra feature where the temp defend now carries over to virtual receptionist. And so the receptionist can know if to let that person check in, or to let them know, listen, you have an elevated temperature and it's not safe for you to come in the building. Here's your follow-up to that. So there's all these extra components that we're adding into this new journey, this new workplace experience. And so again, it's not just one application. We're not a siloed solution of one component. This is a new way to look at digital signage, a new way to consider safety and agility for business continuity. And once you have checked in, now comes, well, what we've done, our bread and butter from day one, which is our wayfinding. So you're in the lobby, but you need to understand how to get to a certain destination. You need to know where your meeting is, or what desk you are assigned to, or what desk you have booked. If you're a university, what study hall location, or where your certain class orientation is. If you're at a shopping mall, where your store is. And all of these components need to consider social distancing, need to consider density controlled environments. So with our smart pathway algorithm and leveraging our 3D engine, we can now create one-way traffic flows. So you're creating a controlled traffic pathways and flows around different venues. We want to have ample space and direction. So whether it's a detour or a scheduled pathway that is being leveraged on the system, or pre-planned routes for guests to follow to avoid wandering, and then unnecessary congestions. So the wayfinding that we used to kind of focus on, which is just getting you from point A to point B, has taken on a life of its own. The wayfinding now is about safety and social distancing. So you've passed the temperature screening, you were checked into the virtual receptionist, who you might have asked additional questions for. Now you're going to a touchscreen, which with our software could be touchless, right? So you've got a capability to do the voice command, or to do gesture controls, or to scan the solution. And I'll talk more about that as we go through. The biggest differentiator with our wayfinding is how we've pivoted the existing solution to benefit all moving forward for that safer, dynamic experience. Obviously, the voice command, the gesture control is a big benefit that we've added. Christy, I forgot, did you want to add anything into the wayfinding or into the voice control as well? Sorry, I'm talking a lot and I forget that you're in here.
Not a problem at all. I was just thinking, one of the key things that I love about your wayfinding is now that you can detect, population density in an area. I would love to use that for the cafeteria at work as an example. If I could check and see, how busy is the cafeteria, so that I can go down and squeeze it in between meetings. That's a huge time saver for me. So I think that, like you'd mentioned, there's so many other ways that you can use the technologies that you have. They're so flexible that it makes them a great solution to adopt now and in the future.
We do have a poll question we want to get in here, since we're talking so much about COVID and how these solutions jive with it. Also, we're getting a lot of great questions in. Everybody, we will answer these at the end. We have some people joining us from Northern Canada, from Europe. So we're going to definitely engage with everyone for those. But we want to interject a quick poll question just for you guys to kind of answer real quick, that really speaks to this. And you should be seeing it on your screen right now, if you could just select that. Yeah, so welcome to Ian Zink out of Canada, Daniel Lamarco and Bob Allen, William Heydrich. We're going to get to all your questions. So Tomer, while we were talking about these things, how do these solutions, I guess we want to clarify, are these all like separate solutions, or do they all kind of work together? Can you speak to that just a little? And we've had some questions that have surrounded that as well.
Thank you. Great question. So that's 22 miles. That's the benefit of one software, one platform. This is not an a la carte software application. This is one CMS, but it can be broken up per application. So the building blocks of design, the building blocks of integration, the building blocks are into our drag and drop solution are all already there. It's for us, it's more about the license and what the client needs. So if the client doesn't need wayfinding, they just want the temp defend solution, we obviously would just benefit, we will just push out just that license, that template, that application, but it's all still being edited through the same web portal or the CMS that in the future someone can evolve to adding a wayfinding or to integrating the virtual receptionist component, or as I'll further talk, to adding room booking capabilities or visual communication or video walls. So it's all there. It's all one platform. So it's kind of a cross-platform or an omni-channel editing suite. It's not hundreds of different software applications. It's one CMS, and that's really the big differentiator. As I referenced, a lot of our competitors, a lot of the people in the industry are very siloed. They're very focused on one component. What someone does just room booking, someone does just wayfinding, someone does just digital signage. I haven't seen anyone in the world, especially looking in Europe or others, where there is this platform that 22Miles offers. And so I appreciate that question, because that is something I definitely want to dig into people's minds, is that no matter what the future holds, you'll have one platform, one solution to support all of that scalability, all of that. You don't have to look elsewhere.
Excellent, excellent. Thanks everybody for taking that poll. I'm going to let Tomer keep going, but just wanted to kind of share the results here. Looks like a pretty even split here as far as how people's businesses have been affected so far. I think that data is kind of probably very applicable worldwide. There seem to be some businesses that have done well, some that have not done so well, but the growing consensus is that a lot of these solutions are going to kind of help across the board. So I'll go ahead and let you continue, Tomer.
Thank you, thank you. So with that, and Christy, you can actually jump into this as well, because this is obviously part of the whole IoT and environment, edge devices, especially leveraging the Intel RealSense or the other applications. And this is something that you were really touching on the contactless experience. So just feel free to jump in, but just a few points from the touchscreens, the wayfinding, to the temp defend. Obviously, one of the things, again, we pivoted in March was to add a way to operate all of these interactive applications without having to touch it. So the easiest thing to do is add the voice control, where we're leveraging Cortana, and we can also leverage Google Voice. Also, just recently, we were asked by a lot of our partners to add gesture control. So we just added gesture control into the temp defend, and obviously it can come into the wayfinding. And this is all part of this interactive touch-free user experience, right? So voice activation to change a page on a touchscreen, voice recognition to answer questions on maybe the CDC questionnaire or survey. It's something that is basically COVID-proof technology. It's pandemic-proof technology, and the future with touchless touch or contactless touch, whatever you want to call it, I think is going to be more and more relevant, prevalent, and necessary on all digital devices into the near future. Christy, anything to add on this part as well, or?
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Touch screens are not going to go away anytime soon, but offering different ways to be able to interact so that you can touch if you feel comfortable, you can talk to it, or you can use gestures. I think having the ability and the flexibility of doing all of those is a great way to provide what the customers are asking for.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then another component for that touchless touch is another solution we basically in April added, which is our secure mobile control. There's two pieces to our mobile story here, and again, part of this journey. So now I'm at step 5. So step 5, again, I'm in the building through this floor plan. So from the entrance to the wayfinding, finding where my desk, finding where my store is, finding where my patient room is or my study hall is. You want to continue the navigation experience. You want to continue understanding your pathway or highlighting your route. but along the way, there's visual displays or there's touchscreens. So the secure mobile control is a way to operate a screen by just scanning a QR code. And now you've got this almost TV remote, which is a touchpad and an on-screen keyboard. And as soon as you touch the touchpad on your phone, which is just open on your web browser, so there's nothing to install, nothing to download, you now have a mouse cursor on your screen. So you're now operating a screen as though your phone is a mouse cursor, and you still have that interactivity, that touchscreen experience, but you're keeping that safety and that hygiene in check. And so that's one version of the mobile application that we've added. The other one is more of the collaborative app, the workplace app. The journey can all come to your phone. And so we now have other applications where we can highlight what rooms need to be sanitized, what rooms need to be cleaned, and those are not bookable rooms. What meeting space has amenities or how many seats there are. And so maybe you're only allowed to book, if you're 4 people, a 4-seat room, and the seats are spread out for social distancing. Maybe you want to invite people to a spontaneous meeting, so you want to send those individuals the invite. We can leverage Microsoft Teams if you wanted to add a web experience into the invite for others outside of the 4 or out of the 6 seats that are available in the room. Maybe you want to find out where your desk is and have wayfinding because it's a hot desking experience. So you're kind of moving things around. So we've developed these 2 different mobile applications that can talk to one another or can be completely separate and benefit in different ways. One of the things that we also figured out is that the secure mobile control makes so much sense that 22 Miles is going to give it away for free. So moving forward, any of our clients, existing clients that are upgrading to our new version 6, will be able to get secure mobile control on any of their touchscreens. And any of our new clients will be able to add this into their new touchscreens. That being said, we can technically operate on any other CMS solution. So we've had partners come to us and say, we want to get on other CMS solutions, and we are asking for the secure mobile control. We've got clients that have created their own UI, UX, and they just want the secure mobile control. So yes, we can do that. It's a dynamic QR code. It's got encryption and data transmission built into it. Obviously, we'd like everyone to leverage 22 Miles, but we know that's not the realistic world. But I think everyone will come to 22 Miles eventually. But for now, this secure mobile control, if it's a third party, there is a charge. But if it's with us, this is just another thing we want to benefit everyone with for that business continuity, for that reopening, and obviously to continue that safety protocols in the foreseeable future. From there, obviously, I reference hot desking, I reference hoteling throughout the wayfinding, throughout all that experience, but it really should be a standalone piece of the journey. It's a lot of buzzwords now about hot desking, right? So what we are getting requests from a lot of partners, a lot of clients, is how do we manage the different desks in real time with social distancing? We can integrate with Exchange. We can integrate with Office 365, Google Calendar. We can even talk to Condeco and EMS and other applications. So we've got all of those APIs locked down. It's easy for us to basically connect to any open API, any reservation system, and dynamically highlight that on the wayfinding, on the visual digital signage communication displays, but then also even on the workstation, like a cubic system or anything like that, or IDEA or any of those, they have these little things. The other piece is literally just adding a QR code sticker on each desk, and you can scan that with our mobile app. And all of this is a push to pull with the reservation system. So now you visually understand what employee is sitting in what location, and dynamically see red and green or whatever color scheme you want, and what rooms are booked or what rooms are available. You can click through and see the occupancy, understand the density grouping, and really control the environment with full data analytics. So there's this blended solution that just continues the journey from step 1 at the lobby, walks you through the wayfinding, shows you visual communication, digital signage displays, and gets you into a mobile walkable pathway and navigation and gets you to your desk or gets you to your meeting. And all of this is what we coined as protection as a service. So we wanted to come up with something fancy for all of this. And so that's what we called it, Protection as a Service Suite. So the Temp Defend, the secure mobile control, the touchless touch experience, the hoteling and the hot desking, even desktop notification solutions. All of that falls under this new umbrella that still leverages the same content management software, but now it's just got a fancy word of what this new world and this new journey entails. Amara, JP, do we have enough time to show the video, or did I overtalk and overcomplicate?
Well, you know, we have a ton of questions and we want to get to those definitely.
Okay.
So throw up a quick poll that talks about a lot of the solutions you were just talking about, and we'll tee up the first ones. So give everybody just a minute to respond to that. And some of the questions, actually, this poll is somewhat timely because a few of the questions revolve around documentation or what actually, you know, how are these solutions labeled, partnered up, et cetera. So we'll definitely get to that in just a moment. But thanks everybody for taking this poll. I'm seeing the statistics move right now in real time. We'll share those as well after our first couple of questions. But let's go ahead and get into some of these because we don't want to not have any answered. So our first question, and Tomer, Thomas, either of you guys can jump in on this, is 22 Miles the possibility to incorporate digital passport with wayfinding? It may be a requirement sometimes in airports, venues, government offices that a vaccination passport is required. Do you have any thoughts on this? This question comes from Daniel. Thanks for the question, Daniel.
Thank you, Daniel. Interesting question. It's the first time actually someone brought that up, and it does make sense. I think transportation as a whole in the industry will have to make a lot of changes. Obviously, one of the most probably dangerous places is an airport. Funny enough, the airplanes are really safe because of the pressurized air and everything like that. But airports, bus terminals, bus stations, they will have to have some of these protocols in place. We in 22 Miles can really integrate with any open API, so we can support any barcode, any type of scanning solution. So a digital passport being added into a mobile experience, or even into the screen with voice control, is something that in our world is fairly easy. Do I know if it's going to be something that will be globally enforced? I don't know that answer. But from our side, it does make sense, and it is something that we can integrate and support. So yeah, no issue from our side in that. It's just about the client. It's about what dashboard they're working with and the design of this digital passport, or this like safety protocol passport acceptance system, or like self survey or self check-in component.
Thanks for that answer, and thank you for that question. Our next question comes from Bobby. Will the product be able to show test results, shot status for COVID vaccine?
The system can show anything. It's a content management software solution, right? So if there's data or some sort of an API or third-party content aggregator, we can display that on the screen. We can display anything on the screen. That said, from a privacy perspective, is that going to be allowed to do? Are we allowed to show the results, or are we encroaching on people's privacy information? Now, I've had people say that they wanted to show on the screen the analytics of who's passed and failed and stuff like that. We can do that because that's ones and zeros, right? That's really just showing pass and fail. We're not even showing temperature. So that's technically allowed. Showing test results, I guess if we're just showing the numbers or the stats, again, that's just content for us. So yeah, we can easily do that, but you're kind of at a fine line, especially in Europe. Maybe that's completely not allowed. In the US, maybe that's a little more open to do, as long as you're not obviously adding patient names and information, and you're really just focusing on the ones and zeros, and it's just a dashboard of numbers, I think that's okay. But again, that's kind of a fine line, and we have to just check that. But from our side, it's just content. So we can display any content on the screen and either make it interactive or just add it to a digital signage display.
All right, thanks for that answer and thanks for that question. Results of our second poll, looks like touch-free interaction and voice command seems to be the leading interest getter here, with room booking bringing up the rear there. But we'll continue with our questions. Our next question comes from William. The question is, hardware notwithstanding, are touchless enhancements available if you're a current 22 Miles client as an upgrade? Is there a cost involved?
It depends. Yes, there is integration and setup costs. So that's really what the cost is. It's also version 6 is what's really supporting all this, because again, in March is when we started adding a lot of these features. So if you're on version 5 or even older clients on version 4 that haven't upgraded to our newest software, you will have to get an upgrade. So that's first. From there is probably a setup solution. But also in our version 6, we added widgets for people to be able to add their own voice control component. And it's a very simple editing tool. And in our new training portal that we just released, there's actual manuals to show you how to create that widget on your layout. The secure mobile control, again, if you're in version 6 or upgrading, we will provide that for free as well. And that's a dynamic QR code that goes on every display, or it's really every media player, every Intel Nook, and so we're just powering the operating system, and within the layout is really what it comes down to. So as long as you're in version 6 or upgrading to version 6, those features are available. It just depends on your design and if there's a little setup or redesign we have to do to support those components.
Excellent, excellent. Next question comes from Rick. The question is, does it show weather and security alerts?
That's always been available. So that's always something we can do. Weather, just a widget in our software, and we can integrate with like the AccuWeathers of the world or any of that as like an iframe push notification. So we can trigger emergency alerts. So we can work with a CAP or an RSS and integrate that into override certain screens. And so if there is like a severe weather alert and it's an emergency alert, it can override the displays. And again, that could be a digital signage screen, that could be the wayfinding screen. That can technically be the tablets for the room booking system. And again, we work with the Crestrons of the world and the ELO touchscreen tablets and all of those as well. That are all Intel powered, so I can say that. And so, yeah, we can override certain screens with emergency alerts, and that's something fairly simple that we can integrate in.
Great, great. So speaking to Christy, one question here comes from John. A company the size of Intel, what are you doing to remain COVID or pandemic proof?
Really good question, and I'm not part of the discussions around what exactly is happening, but I do know that we have implemented a lot of things around only necessary employees need to be in the office. They are being very, very cautious with how we're interacting. I did go in and pick up some of my stuff from my desk, and it is a very empty building right now, but they already have things in place around, checking people's temperatures coming in. We do have things where they're limiting the number of people in the cafeteria at one point in time. So Intel as a whole is being very, very careful about the way we bring people back safely.
Excellent, excellent. Next question, and I'll kind of preempt this with, we have actually sent to everyone in the chat an email address where you can contact us, as well as an online blog that has a lot of this information, as well as some videos and some other things that delve a little more deeply into a lot of the solutions we've been talking about today. But this next question is in that vein from Corey. Basically says, what documentation will be provided so I can intelligently discuss these options of software and hardware with clients. So yeah, we've sent out those links, but Tomer, I don't know if you want to speak further to that or not.
22 Miles as a whole has always been very partner centric. Obviously, we love speaking to clients, but but first and foremost, we want to support our resellers around the world. So there's plenty of resources available. One of the main resources, though, is us. So you can always feel comfortable to reach out to me or my team, and we'll be able to assist with webinars, assist with any scope, or even be a consultant for any of your clients. That said, Amari and I are also doing a lot into our website, updating it. There is a resource subpage with a lot of marketing PDFs, a lot of blogs, a lot of case studies, so you can leverage that. Each one of our solution pages has videos or other content information. The main one around this new journey, though, that you should first and foremost look at is the Protection as a Service solutions page. That would be the first place to start, and it kind of just rattles off everything I just talked about. We also did a blog with Intel recently that also talks about this stuff and has a nice video that shows a little of everything, and that's the video that's in the chat, and also on the screen right here, so you can actually see that. And that gives you a lot more information, but please don't hesitate to contact us. The easiest way is sales@22miles.com or the contact form on our website. So.
Excellent. Next question. We have a couple more here, it looks like. As a chamber, this question comes from Rhonda. As a chamber director, I find these solutions fascinating. What small businesses in a small suburban area would you target or see fit for these?
We are actually been doing a lot with municipalities, with counties, and we actually have already deployed at a few different chambers as well. I think the temperature screening, whether it's for City Hall or for any type of building, obviously I think really makes sense to deploy right away. I don't see the vaccine being distributed to all of us until late summer or even fall. I think it's all about first responders and senior citizen facilities and all of that. Care homes are going to be the first to receive this. So we've got a long way to go. And so I think the temperature sensor, even the check-in with the questionnaire is a value add. The virtual receptionist that could also incorporate temperature sensor screening for your front desk or for your admin. Again, that's from a safety and from a hygiene perspective, makes a lot of sense to deploy right away. And then you can always just incorporate visual communication, digital signage applications, right? So you can show stats, you can show chamber information, city information, weather alerts, all of that kind of stuff. Is obviously something that would benefit you. I don't see wayfinding possibly being something for a small building, so maybe not that. If you've got a few meeting rooms, maybe some room booking, but most of the time chambers don't have those. So focus on the temp defend, focus on the virtual receptionist, and you'll go a long way. And in the future, if you wanted to, again, you can evolve this product to be something else, right? So you can make the Temp Defend touchscreen an interactive menu or a check-in or a chamber of commerce or a municipality or a county informational display board. So you have the flexibility to change the content around in the future and not put this in the closet and forget about it.
Excellent. Okay, we're still going to try to get everybody out of here at the top of the hour, but we got a couple more to go through. So Ed Wright sends us this question. How do you determine occupancy levels in a cafeteria? I'm assuming this is for Temp Defend.
So there is sensors, right? So there's sensor applications out there that, again, we can integrate with. Intel has a lot of different resources around that. There's other companies that are Intel partners or part of the market ready solutions like us that do that kind of stuff. One of them is UST Global that actually has solutions that can even integrate into the security cameras so you don't have to change your infrastructure. There's other solutions like that as well. Again, leveraging the Intel Edge and AI components and all of that. And whatever the data information that is coming from those sensors or from those occupancy controlled devices, we can display it as content. So we can then show that information on the wayfinding. We can show that on displays, and we can tell people, or it can trigger content or media to say, well, there's X amount of people. Basically, we're closing off the cafeteria until Y time. So the content can be triggered from these APIs from the hardware or sensor devices out there. So it's really an integration from our side that we're doing, and we can easily support that. And there's plenty of Intel partners that have those solutions deployed today already, and we're happy to make introductions as needed.
Excellent, excellent. So we're almost at the top of the hour. That is our last official question. I'm going to launch our final poll. And while you guys are taking that, I just want to say thank you to everybody who took time to attend today. We can't say enough about how much we appreciate you joining us, as there would be no webinar without you all. Thank you to Christy. Thank you to Tomer. Thank you to Thomas. All of you guys for being our willing hosts and presenters. And if there's any questions that we didn't get to, feel free to send us an email. I posted that in the chat. Send it to everyone. You can hit us at sales@22miles.com. We will be sending out a link for the recording of this webinar, those who had to leave early or those who just want to take another view at it again. And again, if you'd like to learn more about anything discussed today, I did send out in the chat also our website, www.22miles.com, as well as that blog link that has, it's pretty specific to 22 Miles and Intel's partnership, has videos, some information on a lot of what we discussed today. We hope everyone out there stays safe and successful, and I wish everybody has a great rest of the day. I'm going to see if I can show the results of this poll, this last poll, real quick. If I can share, okay, yes. So looks like a lot of people want to hear a lot about IoT and AI, but also a good amount of interest in augmented reality, scheduling, and automation. So stay tuned, because this is just the beginning. We will be doing more webinars like this, and we certainly appreciate everyone coming. Again, thank you to our hosts, and we hope everybody has a great rest of the day. Thank you very much.